everyone, welcome to Tuesday, April 21st for Social Studies. So today we're going to be talking about the President Abraham Lincoln and the Gettysburg Address still. So if you look at this picture, this is Abraham Lincoln. Now when we think about the President of the United States, the President of the United States is often referred to by the Commander-in-Chief, or the Comforter-in-Chief, and the Consoler-in-Chief. So if you're called the Commander-in-Chief, this refers to the President being the leader of our armed forces. And sometimes the president is called the Comforter-in-Chief or the Consoler-in-Chief. What do you think these last two titles mean? Comforter-in-Chief and Consoler-in-Chief. While you're thinking about this, I want you to think about what does the word comfort and console mean? Pretend you have a little brother or sister, maybe a cousin, and they fall and they hurt themselves, they scrape their knee. A lot of the times you might imagine that they might start crying and become upset, and you will kneel down and get on their level and try to comfort them. Think about what that might mean. Take a few minutes to think about that, a few seconds to think about that. So if you're comforting and consoling someone, you're easing the pain or the difficulty for them. You're making it easier for them, trying to take away their pain. So the president's job, the comforter-in-chief or the consoler-in-chief, just means that sometimes the president has the job of bringing comfort to Americans during times of difficult tragedies or times of difficulty. This kind of reminds me of our country right now during the coronavirus. A lot of the time it's the president's job to comfort the American people and make them feel better during this really difficult and scary time. So this was like it was during the Civil War. After the Battle of Gettysburg, there was a lot of divide between the North and the South. So the president delivered a speech called the Gettysburg Address. And here you can see him standing in front of all these people acting as the comforter-in-chief or the consoler-in-chief, trying to make the American people feel better. The purpose of the Gettysburg Address, him giving this speech in 1863, was to bring together the country during a time of divide when the country was divided by different views of the war. Some people didn't want the war to continue. Some people wanted it to continue. North and South had different views on slavery and states' rights and things like that. So when it was delivered in 1863, the Gettysburg Address was seen as just another speech by a president. It took some time for people to realize that it was actually a very important message about the war and American values and beliefs. So he was meant to comfort and console the American people and bring them up and be like, it's going to be okay. I can ease your difficulty and your pain during this time. So what you're going to do today, which is pretty exciting, we are going to actually look at a copy of the speech that he gave. So imagine yourself back in the 1800s, and you're going to read this speech and watch a video. So this is the video you'll click on, and you'll watch through. Now the video and the speech is going to be a little different. There will be different things in it. But here is a little intro. And then you have the speech is set up into 4 different sections. So when you answer the questions that are along with this task, it's going to say, look at section 1 or section 4. So right here would be section 1, 7 years ago. This would be section 2, 3, and 4, kind of like paragraphs, as we've said a lot in 4th grade. So one question you're going to look at once you go and start to do your work, after you watch the video and read the speech, is you're going to answer some of these questions that go along with the speech and the video on the Gettysburg Address. So it says the Gettysburg Address was delivered in November of 1863. Now, if I know we're in 2020, 1863 was a really long time ago, but the speech says it begins 7 years ago. Well, what does that mean, Missy? I've never heard the word score before unless I'm taking a test. Well, a score is actually a period of 20 years. So how long is 7 years ago? So if you have 4 scores, that's 20 4 times, right? So think about it like that. 7 years ago. What year and event is President Lincoln referencing? So you're going to look at different sections. Section 3, for example, you'll look down here at section 4. That just means you go back here and read the different sections and try to answer the questions as best as you can. Thanks so much for watching along, and I hope this was helpful for you in learning about the Gettysburg Address. Bye, guys.